Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are decluttering several areas in my home. I am doing this a little bit different than I usually do, so I have a lot of new tips to share with you, a lot of new techniques that I'm trying out, and I have to say, once I got done with it, it felt so good. So I'm really excited to share this motivation with you. Before we get started today, let me know what area in your house you are planning to declutter next, and we can do this together. Let's do this. All right, I literally just made this bed and look. What are you doing, Holly? He just jumped up from down here into the bed. Like, you know, that's fine. I wanna hear you say So I am really pumped for today. I am officially starting my new decluttering journey. I started listening to an Audible book about decluttering, and I feel like I learned a lot of new things, new techniques and tricks and tips that I have never tried before. And I'm really, really excited to test them out and see how it goes. So I figure as I'm decluttering today, I will share with you guys kind of the things that I've learned, but we are going to be working kind of towards the front of the house. That's one of the things that she talks about, is starting towards the front of the house and not just focusing on, you know, like inside cabinets and kind of those hidden places. Instead, you want to do the things that you see every day, because that's what's going to really motivate you to continue your decluttering journey. I am so happy you're here with me today. I cannot wait. I am so excited just to feel the peace that we're going to create from this, and I hope that this will motivate you to tackle whatever area in your house is giving you a little bit of a headache or stressing you out. Let's go ahead and get into it. My office is a place that I spend a lot of time. It's also right by the front door. It's almost guaranteed that when I come in here, my office is going to be a wreck, even if I cleaned it the day before. So I really want to come in here and just declutter as much as I can. I'm going to try to be as ruthless as I can with it and just be really real with myself. Is this something that's going to serve me today? Is it something that I pretty much never get into, that I never deal with? And if so, then why am I holding on to it? I'm also going to be doing two different things. I'm going to be donating things, and some of the things I'm going to be doing a yard sale for, because that way I feel like it's a little easier to get rid of. But I'm actually going to put the boys in charge of the yard sale. I'll be sitting out there with them, but they are going to kind of run it. I think it'll be a good lesson to them and show them it's good to get rid of things. And also I'm going to let them have the money from the things. So this would be a good way for them to actually do the work and earn the money. All right, this is my Cricut cabinet, and there are a lot of things in here that I use, but there are also some things that I've gotten, maybe it was on sale or whatever, that I just never ever grab for. So instead of just keeping everything, I'm going to go through it and get rid of it. Like, for example, this, it's an iron-on, but I have had this for actually a couple of years and I haven't used it at all. I haven't opened it, I haven't used these colors. So chances are I'm not going to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now this one, I always go for this. I actually just got this one because I needed the color, and then I happen to have another one. So these, for example, I don't think I'm gonna use any of these colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and donate this one, or maybe we'll put it in the garage sale, but basically I'm not going to keep this cluttering up my cabinet. I have a duplicate kind of over here. This one's not as bad. This is more like transfer tape and things like that, but we're still gonna go through that one too. Can't remember if I mentioned this before, but the book is actually called Declutter at the Speed of Life by Dana K. White. It's been one of the best decluttering books I've ever read. But in that book, she talks about how you should declutter the front of the house first,
because that's where you see all the time. And I feel like for me, I typically will go for my closet or the kitchen cabinets or something like that where it's kind of hidden, where it is places that I access frequently, but not all day long. Like I'll go in my closet in the morning and then I don't go back in there until the evening. Whereas at the front of my house, I see it multiple times a day. And so you want to declutter those spaces that you see all the time just to keep getting motivation. And another thing that she mentions is to declutter the open spaces first. Now I have to say I'm quite good at hiding my clutter sometimes. So I will tuck away all of my clutter into cabinets and drawers and whatever. So I am following her advice. However, I'm not only decluttering open areas, I'm also decluttering the areas that I always hide, but they always find their way back into the open areas, if that makes sense.
But I used to really struggle when I would find a really good sale on something that I knew I could use. If I don't get it now, then I'll have to pay full price for it later. So I have these brand new mats in here, and I got them for like $4. Maybe it was even less, maybe it was marked down further than that. And I have multiple back there and I just don't need them right now. I guarantee they've been in here at least a year, probably 2 years. So instead of me holding on to them in here, I'm going to get rid of them. When I end up needing a new mat, I'll just go to the store and get one. Hopefully I can find it on sale, but this way I'm not having to hold on to even more stuff for a long time. It's a little hard for me to do that, but I just don't want to be holding on to everything in case I need it one day. I love this lamp, it's so cute, but I never ever turn it on. I always use that one in the corner, and then I use the one on my desk, and that one I just never ever use. So it is going goodbye.
Aren't you tired of the drama? You use your words like they are knives. I don't need that type of drama.
This is one of my to-do lists, and I don't use these anymore because instead I use a time-blocked to-do list, and that has helped me so much more. So even though this is really cute and actually I still have a lot of pages left, I know that I'm not going to start using this. I'm just going to keep using what I know works for me. So this is not something I need to hang on to. So we'll let someone else use it. Also, I did want to mention I am not organizing anything in here. I'm not going to spend my time organizing today. My goal today is just get things out of our house that is not serving us and continue with that motivation instead of getting so hyper focused on one area and making it perfect. Like I'll put it back nice, but I'm not going to be going and getting new bins to organize everything or anything like that. I'm just pulling out what we're not keeping, and then I'll deal with the organization aspect later.
Once I fell, but now I'm strong. I'm ready for the rematch. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up? Yeah, baby, I will fight. No, there ain't nothing stopping me. I'm bulletproof, I won't fall.
The next thing I wanted to work on is this overly stuffed, super cluttered sideboard. It looks so pretty on the outside, but on the inside it is not functional at all because really it just is stuffed full of things that a lot of times I don't use or that really shouldn't be in this kind of high traffic area. Some of the things I have in here should actually be more tucked into my closet in like a keepsake area. So I'm trying to go through this area fast, but I'm also trying to be efficient.
You try to make yourself feel better by taking me down. Once I fell, but now I'm strong. I'm ready for the rematch. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up? Yeah, baby, I will fight. No, there ain't nothing stopping me. I'm bulletproof, I won't fall. I'm bulletproof.
This is so random, but I started doing this actually when we moved here, and I wish I had done this when our boys were even younger. They will meet someone at school, and it's so hard to get your information to the other parent. So I made these little cards, I think just on Vistaprint a long time ago. On one side it said, our kids would love to play, and I just put all 3 of our boys' names so I could use them for all of them. And what I'll do is I'll either underline whoever it is or circle it so they can give this to their friend. And then on the other side just has my name and my number, and it says says call me, and then that way the boys can take these to school. It's been so helpful to get in contact with the other parents because it's actually a little card versus just my name and number written down. So anyway, if you have young kids, try doing this. It's just been really awesome.
Get over yourself, are you for real? Why are you looking at me so cold? One's love is now we're enemies. You try to make yourself feel better by taking me down. Once I fell, but now I'm strong. I'm ready for the rematch. Shoot me down, don't you know I get up?
Another thing that she shares in the book is when you declutter the front of your house, you typically would just continue on through your house and move forward and not retouch that front area again. However, she says, clutter kind of creeps back in. And so instead, you want to declutter that front area of your house. But then the next time you go back to declutter, you want to go back through that front area and re-declutter those areas one more time. But when it took you an hour the first time, it's going to take you 5 or 10 minutes the next time because not a lot is going to have changed between declutters this time, and it will continue to get you completely motivated. So I thought this was a really unique idea because it's not something that I've typically done in the past. I just kind of move forward, but it actually makes a lot of sense. It just continues to keep that motivation and keep your spaces decluttered as you go. So I will be visiting this area again, but it won't be this drastic next time.
All right, I have my office completely decluttered and it feels so much better, honestly. This is a pile of things that just needs to get put somewhere else, but we're keeping. This is donate, and then this is going to be going for the garage sale. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them into a box so that we don't have to keep our laundry baskets being used for a while. And then we're going to head into, I think, the guest room next.
Lots of times when I declutter, I will skip over things and hold on to things, and then eventually I'll let go. So that's kind of why, even though I've decluttered these areas in the past, I've still ended up finding new things to declutter today. But I wanted to share that because I wanted to give a little reminder to not be hard on yourself. Decluttering is a journey, and you definitely just want to focus on progress over perfection. And I also wanted to share that typically when I declutter, I feel like I don't go back out and buy a lot of new things right away. Of course, it kind of happens over time, and that's completely normal. Like, you're not ever gonna not buy something new. Do your best to make sure that you're being intentional with your new purchases so that you don't immediately have to declutter a bunch of things because you just filled in the kind of empty space that you just cleared out.
I got this blanket last year and I love it. I think it's so pretty, but it just continuously snags. But I can't bring myself to get rid of it because it's just so pretty and I spent money on it. And I know I always say, don't worry about the money you spent on it. It's gone. Now it's costing you. But some things you can talk about it like that and then it's hard to actually do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. It's a pretty blanket. Maybe if you didn't have kids or you didn't have cats or dogs or animals, it might be okay, but for our house, it just doesn't work. And then these are actually some pans that, again, like I haven't been able to bring myself to get rid of because they're really nice pans, but they didn't work with our new induction stove. So they're also ones that we are going to go ahead and pass on.
Tonight we're running on the right track. I know we never gonna look back.
When I was in here a few weeks ago decluttering actually this whole cabinet with a bunch of decor, a lot of you had suggested that I decorate this top ledge, and I didn't even think to do that because honestly I just had these really tall pieces that couldn't go anywhere else, and so I figured, no, this is a storage area, I need to keep it at that. But this time I took your guys' advice and I decided to not only store the tall items here, but I also kind of styled them in a way that looked decorative, and so I want to say thank you for that suggestion because now it looks really pretty, but it's also functional because it's storing my decor.
Party like, freaking out. To the beat, don't freak out, sing like. Where's the fun in doing what you're told?
This basket right here is actually our decluttering basket. So it sits here, and then throughout the week, throughout the days, we can just like toss something in there if we need to get rid of it. And then that kind of regularly gets donated. I'm leaving this here, but that's what that's for. We are going to head into this area, and that's kind of how it looks a lot, except a lot of times there's shoes all over the ground. So I need to go through and just really minimize this and only use what we're using all the time and not what's just getting thrown about on a daily basis, because it's not really useful anymore, like it doesn't fit or whatever the case may be.
The boys had just gotten home from school, so I ended up taking advantage of that and having them help me in here, just kind of going through which shoes fit, which didn't. And once we got done in here, this space has been kind of a headache, or a big headache, I guess, for a really long time. And it finally has been functional for us. It's not overflowing with shoes that aren't being worn. So there are really so many benefits to decluttering your house. I'm sure that most of you have decluttered on and off, and I just want to remind you of that amazing feeling when you have just kind of what you need and not all this excess that isn't being used. It feels so peaceful.
All right, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna show you guys the shoe and station area. It's time to declutter some of this stuff.
So I really feel like I don't go out and buy a bunch of new shoes. I know this cabinet looks crazy. They're not all mine, but a lot of them obviously are. However, the thing that I do is I kind of hold on to them, because if they're not broken, then I will just keep on keeping them. And so I get new shoes, but then I just continue to keep the old ones that I had. But when I don't actively declutter things, this is what I'm left with.
Okay, out of all of that, this is what I'm keeping. These two sets of sandals I wear all the time. I actually got them from Costco last year or the year before, so they are getting a bit worn, but I still wear them all the time. Then these shoes, they are a bit worn, but my mom had got me these, and they are just like the most comfortable shoe. These are my painting and outdoor shoes. So just like if I'm hanging out in the garage or hanging out, outside and doing a project, I'll wear those because they're plastic. They're obviously very worn and they're comfortable. These will be donated.
Moving into Kyle's office. Now, I cannot do as much in a space that is not mine at all, like his office, but I do know some things don't need to be here anymore, things that I know he's not really using, or maybe even things that I placed in here that he doesn't utilize at all. So I just did my best to kind of remove the unneeded things, and then even though I'm not doing a full organization, I did kind of readjust a few things to make them look and feel more peaceful. But this is actually a space that normally I would have completely overlooked. I would have just walked out of this room and not dealt with it. But because I was doing the front of the house, this is near the front of the house, so I incorporated that into my group of places that I was decluttering today. And in the end, I was really happy I did, because then it felt the same as all the other places. It just felt more peaceful when you walked by.
I thought I had some of those little cord keepers, but I either must not have ordered them or I can't find where they're at. So I'm just gonna wrap these up and literally just use good old Scotch tape to kind of wrap these up and keep them organized, because right now we would just end up going and grabbing a new cord because we don't even know where to start in here. So here we go. Then this one's easy. It's a watch charger, and if you need it, you can come grab it right out, but it'll be easy to find that way.
So as you saw, I did not declutter a ton from this bookshelf, but do you see the difference? You can completely take a few minutes and transform a simple space into something more peaceful and gain motivation from even just that. It doesn't have to be a whole huge declutter. You can declutter, one countertop or one little table or something, or a bookshelf. Those things can give you instant motivation to continue on to tackle the bigger spaces as well.
All right, I definitely did not get near as much decluttered in Kyle's office, which is fine. He actually probably has a lot less clutter than I do, and also he just kind of has to go through some of his things himself. The only other area that I wanted to get done today is a couple of the cabinets that we use daily in the kitchen, and they are constantly a mess. I do need to declutter the entire kitchen, but to finish everything up, I think we are going to go ahead and just declutter these 2 cabinets.
She looks like a star. Yeah, she's got the style that makes you think she's made out of gold. She says she likes it better when we go off-road. Yeah.
Oh, cookbooks. I love cookbooks, but a lot of times I just don't declutter them, and clearly I had so many. I hated opening this cabinet because the cookbooks were just overflowing, and a lot of them I didn't use anymore. Now, I honestly need to declutter the entire kitchen, but I didn't have time to do that today, so I'm just taking this small area and we will get to the rest later. But in the end, we are decluttering at the speed of life, which is perfect because it doesn't mean we're decluttering fast. It doesn't mean we're going a certain speed. It means we are decluttering at the speed at which life will allow. And sometimes that means decluttering an entire kitchen in a day, and another time it means taking on one cabinet. It's all just about that little progress.
Okay, so I have basically 2 piles going here. The one on the left are ones that I think I'm going to be getting rid of. I actually had gotten a lot of these books from Mercari or secondhand at the store. Tonight or tomorrow I will go through all of these cookbooks. These ones I might keep, but I just haven't had the chance to go through them. And then these ones are saying goodbye.
We can skip that part. All I want is her to be with me. She's got a ticket to my heart.
Gosh, you guys, this felt so good. And I have to say, the front part of our house that I decluttered has stayed so much cleaner, and it just feels peaceful as soon as you walk in the door. I spend a ton of time in my office. I always see Kyle's office and the guest room, and I always am opening up those cabinets in the kitchen. And every time I do, it makes me really excited to declutter the next area. And I can't wait to take you guys along with me on that journey. We are going to continue through the house, so I'm not going to ask you guys this time what area you want me to declutter next. Instead, we are just going to continue on with the flow of the house, and it's going to feel amazing. So let me know if you have any tips that I didn't share today. There are a ton that I've found from that book that I didn't share, and I'm honestly not even finished with the book. So I'll have a ton to share in the next decluttering video, but thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
We're like superstars. Windows roll down, radio on. I think we could go far. We don't need money. We can skip that part. All I want is her to be with me. She's got a ticket to